You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Here's what Trump has told advisors about his sprawling pardon plans, book author based on an article by Matthew Russer. The pardon is the message, power, not confusion. Donald Trump is not described here as drifting into lawlessness by accident. The source says he plans to pardon advisors who helped him in allegedly criminal activity, and that he has told senior aides he will pardon anyone who got close enough to the Oval Office. That is not a lapse in discipline. It is the construction of a protection racket at the top of the state. The relevant fact is simple. Trump holds the institutional power to pardon, and he is reportedly signaling that this power will be used not as mercy, but as insulation for loyalists who helped consolidate his own authority. The decision-maker. The article's central weakness is its tendency to treat Trump's conduct as a personality story about grandiosity. The personality matters, but the decision does too. If the reporting is accurate, Trump is the one making the promise, defining the circle of impunity and teaching advisors that proximity to power is its own shield. That matters because it places responsibility where it belongs. The A's are not the sovereign problem. They are the enabling layer. The power sits with the president, who can reward complicity after the fact and turn potential legal exposure into another loyalty test. Impunity as governance. The pardon threat is not an isolated gesture. In the source, it sits beside a pattern of behavior the article associates with authoritarian rule, punishing opponents, deporting immigrants without due process, demanding tribute from corporations and foreign governments, deploying soldiers into cities, and renaming public institutions after himself. Taken together, this is not just vanity. It is a governing style built on domination, extraction, and symbolic occupation. The banners over federal buildings and the branded institutions are not decorative excess. They are claims of ownership. The message is that the state is no longer a public trust. It is a personal franchise. Misdirection and cover. The framing in the source nudges readers toward a familiar dot. Trump is described as essentially beyond the reach of the law, as if lawlessness were a condition that simply happened around him. That wording risks laundering agency. It softens a deliberate pattern of behavior into a cloud of inevitability. The stronger reading is harsher and more accurate too. If accountability is failing, it is because power has been arranged to fail. The pardon promise, the loyalty culture, the spectacle of naming and renaming, and the public display of his image all point in the same direction. This is not confusion. It is the intentional replacement of institutional restraint with personal loyalty. The autocrat's vanity project. The source leans on historical comparisons to late-era strongmen, and that comparison is not just about ego. Dictators decorate reality when they believe reality no longer limits them. Statues, names, banners, monuments, and personal branding are not side effects of power. They are how power trains everyone else to accept permanent subordination. Trump's reported behavior fits that pattern because it collapses the distinction between public office and private identity. The state becomes a mirror. Every building, currency, and institution exists to confirm the ruler's centrality. The system behind the spectacle. The larger political pattern is not simply corruption, and not even just authoritarian cruelty. It is the normalization of impunity as a governing principle. Once a president can promise pardons to those who helped him break the rules stop functioning as rules and become bargaining chips. That is the real story here, not one man's ego, but a system of power that rewards complicity, punishes restraint, and converts public institutions into instruments of personal survival. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article, with the automated voice of John. Thanks for listening.